Welcome everybody to the broadcast. Still getting everything ready here, kind of short notice, so just bear with me, but we will get to things here shortly. afternoon, and welcome down to Weather Down in Muletown. As always, this is your captain speaking. Got several things that we want to get to today. First and foremost, we'll go right here to our storm tracker Doppler radar and have a look at what's rolling on into town, getting some fan photos from y'all. Looks like it's got a pretty good, decent shelf shape to it in real life and on radar there, folks. So I was wondering a minute ago if the velocity was playing tricks or if the wind was getting pretty up on this one. It looks like it may have a little bit of wind in it. It's always hard to tell on the radar, but that's what it looks like. We are under that wind advisory today until I think tomorrow sometimes. So definitely keep an eye on that. Wind has really picked up here. Currently 50 degrees and on the steady so far in Sunnyside, wind 12 miles an hour, peak about 16 or so out of the south-southwest. Pressure 29.65, about a tenth of an inch of precip today so far since about 6 o'clock this morning. So just depending on where you are in the Middle Tennessee area, that's what's going on. Throw that in motion for you just a second so you can kind of see what's going on throughout the woods there. All of that doesn't look as bad as it is. I'll actually put that back into the type mode for you there so you can see kind of what's going on, where that dreaded freezing line is that we've been talking about all week, and it's going to come into play again. I've got some nifty graphics on here that I can show you all as well too later on to kind of illustrate what that is, how sleet, freezing rain, snow, mix, grapple, how all of that stuff works, because it's kind of complicated, but if there's an easier way to remember it, I think I've got it figured out. So we'll get to that in just a minute, but I wanted to go ahead and share that with you all right off the rip there. And then, like I said, just a shade under 49 degrees here live in Sunnyside. Dew point's about 40, so we were discussing something like the freeze over and temperature changeover as far as like roads and stuff. Tomorrow morning we'll get to that as well too. I don't think that's going to be as much of an issue. So again, under that winter weather advisory for areas to our north, we are currently not. Don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. That's why I've got such an old graphic up there from 4 o'clock this morning, but that's pretty much where things stand. And then again, wind advisory. I need to get the text on that real quick so I make sure I'm not lying to you, but I believe it's in effect until 6 a.m. Monday. So yeah, tomorrow morning. So that goes in effect from 3 p.m. today and then 6 a.m. Monday. So not quite in effect yet, just a little bit past 1 p.m. now. So, and then for the today, 56 degrees for the high around the area. Pretty much a good chance of seeing some kind of precip in some kind of form today for everybody across the mid-state area, just depending on where you're listening from. Song remains pretty much the same for tonight. Low of about 28. May get a little bit. We're going to talk about that here in a minute too. Looking at some of the model stuff, I think we may stay a little bit warmer than that slightly, just until maybe closer to daylight tomorrow, and then temps are going to start dropping pretty good. So. And then tomorrow, 35, just going to make it above freezing. But again, I don't think that's going to last too long. Here's the latest 48-hour run of the HRRR model, kind of my favorite there. It does okay with snow, usually historically, so we'll go and see what it's got to say here. Pretty much those storms rolling through today, maybe some stuff on and off between now and then, which is what we're about to get here. And then that main line somewhere between about 8 to 10 p.m. I've seen some of the models have it come in as like a more of a straight kind of shoestring kind of line, maybe look like higher winds may be a concern, and I've had some other models show it off maybe as more of like a blob or a wave of kind of quasi lines, we'll call them. So whatever you want to say there. It's a couple of 3 different scenarios that we will get into again as well. We're going to go through and take you through some of those different models here in just a second, and then see what kind of things we can shake out of them. So let me get some of those pulled up here. Again, if you're just joining us, I think this is probably going to be just rain for us. We may catch a stray snow shower, I think, on the backside of this, but the models are still even kind of iffy on that. Some of them show kind of a wisp or two maybe coming through. Some of them don't have that as much, but the National Weather Service has said, you could see a dusting, but up to that is pretty much going to be about it. And again, personally, I don't think we will quite get to that here in the Milton hour. We may see some snow falling, we may see some mix or some sleet or some other kind of mixed wintry precip at some point, but I don't think it will be all that much overall. So let's pop on over to our models. And again, this is just kind of discussion. This all comes with the big salt that we are just asking the supercomputer what it thinks. It can only think what we tell it to with all the environmental conditions that we feed into it via our tax dollars and such through the National Weather Service, NOAA, et cetera, so on and so forth. Again, salt, big salt. What we do generally, and I say we, this is just me, but this is how the professional people with all the degrees and the letters and all the stuff that they do, all you can do is ask each model its different individual thing, and then go about asking the other one the same thing, try to get a group consensus and hit the middle. That's pretty much, all we can do. It's always speaking kind of non-certains of, between 8 to 10 p.m. and, maybe 40 to 50 miles an hour, because little variables can have big impacts sometimes. 50 miles here or there, north or south, could make a big difference in what you see, what you don't see, and having a great day versus a bad day. So it all shakes together in the end, promise. But this, again, just narrating. When I do these things, I'm just kind of narrating how I run through my thought process and how I look at things, basically. So that is what we will do. That's the biggest news I've got for you. I've got another couple screens open. You all can't see that I'm keeping an eye on the storms right now. It looks like Santa Fe may be getting some of that heavier storm coming through here in just a second, but again, there's no warnings on it, just probably lightning and some stiff wind, but again, no warnings on it right now. But if you're in Columbia, you may be starting to see some of that precip falling and some of the wind picking up just a little bit now, our areas to the west, Marin County. So all is well there. All right, so to the nerdery. All right, so let me make sure, there we go, make that a little bit bigger for y'all. All right, so there we go. All right, so you can see Columbia there. Again, from Challenge folks got all that labeled and fun stuff. So this is what we just looked at a moment ago, HRRR. The next 48-hour loop is running. We're not quite there yet, so I'll have to wait a little bit to see how that runs, but it's holding about the same thing. Storms coming through, but between about 8 to 10 p.m. for that main line, just whatever that ends up looking like. We'll look at it without the snow and stuff and have a look. And again, this is one of those where it was showing it maybe coming in a little heavier, so it may get a more sustained blob of rain, followed by possibly a line trying to form there on the very end, and then maybe another blob, and then maybe some more little blobs. So again, imperfect science, just what the supercomputer thinks. Now let's get to what everybody wants to talk about. I know is going to be next week. So again, if you missed the post I just made earlier, the jury's still out as far as like the timing, as far as where the freezing line's going to sag to, how far south that is, versus rain, snow, or mix, snow, rain, kind of just which end of the side of the fence you end up being on there, and the timing. General consensus is going to be somewhere between Friday, Saturday, and some of the outlier models suggesting maybe as late as Sunday. But it looks like it's somewhere around that Friday, Saturday, Sunday next weekend time frame, which is where the salt comes into consideration. Because again, this is right at a week out, folks. Again, so we were looking at a different story a week ago when we were looking at even this. So again, big salt. This is just all best guesses and academia at this point. So moving on through today, again, we may see some little wisps here and there. This is Monday. Looks like, throughout the day, Monday may see some wisps of snow here and there. But I doubt it will amount to anything really. We move on a little bit through the rest of the week. Again, same thing, cold but uneventful. And then here we come into view. So this is Friday, 10 January, 12 a.m. This moves in 3 hours like little spits and spats. So we go from 12 to 3. See the snow starts moving in, maybe, because this is again showing up pretty light there on our scale, moving in, and then picks up heavier throughout the day, through the daytime. But we see our dreaded nemesis come into play here with the pink and the purple, showing either freezing rain or some type of mixed precipitation, sleet, rain, snow, freezing, that type of stuff. See that creep in, stay to our south. That's one of the main predominant theories with all of the models, and a lot of them are trending that the ice with this one will likely stay south of us. But as we know, and as we've discussed with this one and an experience with this one, things can shift 50, 100 miles here and there, and it could be a different story. So we're keeping our eye on it, and that's why. Again, heavier snow throughout the day, and then going through Friday evening, 9 p.m., finally tapers off Saturday morning earlier. So, all right, so we won't go into the long term because I think there is maybe one more that tries to, yeah, we may flirt with some snow here and there throughout the preceding week, but we're just literally talking about this right now. So a week out is bad enough as is. So let's look at some of the totals on that. We'll look at this. We'll refrain from looking at the total snowfall because that just kind of measures what all it's capable of. We want to see kind of environmental conditions mixed in, ground temperature, things like that. So this is this event rolling through this event. It says we may get a trace, but again, I think that's going to be pretty over eager there as far as that goes. So again, showing in the melting conditions, sunshine, yada yada yada, and then coming in, here we go into view. So Friday, let's roll that back just a hair. All right, Friday midnight, see snow starting to pick up, accumulate 3 a.m., 6 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, Friday about 1.5 inches. That's probably, I would say, what the median, maybe between 1 to 2 inches. Some of them were as high as 4. We'll get into that again, just I'm speaking broadly across all of the models. Some are a little less, but most all of them agreed that there would be some accumulating snowfall with this system. So again, 1.5 inches there roughly, 12 p.m., and then things kind of go downhill from there, 6 p.m., 9 p.m., 3 a.m. We're depending just on where you are in Murray County, maybe 4 to 5 inches. This is one of the higher totals because it's GFS. So like I said, in GFS likes to swing real high at things and then back off kind of as things go through as far as that goes. Saying some of it looks like it may stay around again because of the temperatures dropping, freezing through, and then hopefully shifting off by the beginning of next week. But it's still saying that there could be, with this, I usually look at back roads and places that are not treated, this many days out going into like Monday, Tuesday, that should be just back roads by that point. Again, this is the ice for right now for this one. Again, it all kind of went north there as you see, and then for the next round coming in Saturday, Sunday, again, suggesting most of it stays to our south around Alabama and such as well. Pretty much the same for this metric as well too. So swapping models from GFS, we'll go and have a look at GDPS, one of the Canadians. All right, can we do regional? Yeah, it'll take our Columbia view away from us there, but right here from our geographically challenged folks. If you remember the 90s cartoon Doug, I can never unsee it now. A follower, one of my family members told me that, and I can never unsee it. I'll have to screenshot her original post from back in the day and show it to y'all, but it's side by side Murray County and Doug, and I'll never unsee it now. So freezing rain, we'll start there just because that's where we are rolling through this event. You can see it kind of come up, approach out of the south, and Canadian model again is favoring us getting potentially some decent ice impacts up there, about 1/4 inch or so potentially. Same story, I believe here. Yeah, about 1/4 inch or so between Friday and Monday morning, call it. So Canadians were a lot more bullish on this event as well too, and said we were going to get some ice and snow, so that's still kind of yet to be seen. Again, it's saying we may get up to 1/4 inch of snow out of this, but again, I don't think it's going to pan out that way. Could be wrong. I hope to be wrong, because I like snow, but don't anybody want to see ice. And here comes snow totals on the next one. You see that rolling in Sunday, Monday, about 3.5 inches. So this one is trending a little bit higher with its last one. I don't think I've seen this one yet. I think this was still running when I was getting ready for this show last time, I think. So yeah, about 3 inches there out of the Canadian model as well. So very interesting. Swap over to the Euro. I'll stay on snow depth just because that's where we are. Again, Euro says no snow for us on this one. I think that's going to be pretty true. And then we see coming out from the south here Friday. spreading out, but only about a trace of snow, so maybe up to about an inch, just depending on where you are in Murray County. Again, right about there, half inch, just that may be some partial snow dome working for you there, Kalioka. And then breaking up pretty quickly after that. So ice, I think Euro said we may get a touch. Nope, just south too. Okay, there's only a couple that said a touch on the ice. I think the Canadians are going to be the outliers on that again, just because they were this time as well. Because most everybody else was doing this exact scenario. So north this time, south next time. Again, being right here in the middle of all of this junk, kind of like how we are right now with the snow up here and the maybe here and the severe weather down here. Being in the middle is always not great because we could go either way pretty much as far as that goes. So look at the icon real quick. Snow depth only here, so we'll just have a look at that. Miss on this one, and then again coming up from the south, about 2 inches maxes, I think there. Yeah, maybe closer to 3 for southern Murray County there. So again, it's about 1 to 3. Some of the other models are higher. Again, this is too far out to stake any claims or be any kind of surety on any of this stuff yet, just because, again, it's a week out. So there's just not any way that we can 100% know. North American model now, NAM, you will hear us refer to it. Because it's the 84 run. Yeah, this I got to get us close enough. But it's saying maybe we get some possible snow off of this. Again, I don't see it. Yeah. So let me think. What have we not looked at? EPS? Yeah, EPS. That should get us out far enough. Snow depth. Yeah, this gives us like a probability. See it coming up there between 0 and 3. I always love the 0 and 3. Here we go. See, it's saying about an inch, maybe a little bit more in some places. I don't remember what it said about the ice. So yeah, this is probability for more than 1/10 of an inch of ice, measured on a percent scale, and it looks like we max out about 4 or 5%. So it looks good there. So I think, yeah, this one is another, yeah, it keeps the icing to the south. Most of the models prefer that, again, other than the Canadians. Canadians are kind of on their own on this one, but let's look at the long-range Canadian model for the snow on this next one. About 1.5 inches, maybe 2, again. And then GEFS, long-range cousin of the GFS. It's also a little nutty sometimes, but it has its moments. Yeah, so maybe a trace off of this event it's saying, and then next event, it's not buying it. I haven't looked at this new run either. I missed some of the 12Z run apparently while I was working. Yeah, it's saying some comes through, maybe 3/4 of an inch dusting trace, but that's it. So yeah, GEFS is not buying it. Let's look at the probabilities here. Yeah, 0 to 3, 0 to 2. So, NWS blend, 13 Zulu. I think I've already seen this one. About 2 inches or so, just depending there between that next weekend show. Ice, I think it's got to the south. Yeah. And not as much as well, too, on the NWS blend there. So, there you have it. I think that's most of the main ones. This one's still running. Yep. Our next 48-hour loop isn't done yet. So that's how I do it, folks. Go in and look at the happenings of what they all say. Try to find a happy medium as far as the time, the when, the where. The tips. The tips. That is one thing we can look at. Temp and wind is going to be fun. So let's see. Surface, wind gust. Let's go back to our zoomed in view for you all here. Again, Columbia right there, and it's even labeled for us. How about that? So this is the last full set of HRRR. Should see some of those gusts pick up when those storms roll through later. Yep, so maybe some 40, 50 gusts are out of the question there. Some of those, yeah, maybe closer to 50 of those darker reds there. And then it looks like it's going to stay windy, which is actually going to help us out. It'll help dry out a lot of that surface moisture and stuff, because the temp isn't going to just plummet with this one. It's going to kind of go up until that front comes through. And then as it does, you can see our warm air kind of move out there, and it starts dropping pretty good. Then actually about daylight tomorrow, about 05 to 07, I think it said, is actually when the temp is going to drop below freezing there. Let's have a look at the lightning while we're right here too. Yeah, so maybe some lightning with those storms that come through around 7:10 or so. But other than that, that is the there you have it moment. So right now, those storms are rolling up on into Muletown, as we expected. So let us know what you all are seeing there. Don't see any more lightning returns coming with that. It does look like it is some pretty heavy rain, though, especially up there around Spring Hill, too. It looks like y'all are about to get some. Theta's getting it right now. Looks like the rain should be coming on down. Looks like that 412 at the split right there at Whitthorne, Central Baker. North James Campbell, so right there on the edge of it. Highway 43, same way. Campbellsville Pike, Trotwood Avenue should be right there on top of it. So, I mean, look at the velocity again. I know it was looking crazy earlier. Yeah, I don't think that's returning right. Let me do some trickery here. And get a vector on this and look at it storm relative. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be more accurate. Still showing maybe some gusty winds here and there, but nothing crazy like this is showing, because this is showing in like the 60 mile per hour range right here for whatever reason. So don't know why it's doing that. Higher up I could understand, but yeah, that's odd. So into wakes, folks may see some gusty winds with that, but again, no warnings right now. Zoom it all the way back out if you're just joining us. But that is what we've got going on for the moment. Questions, comments, concerns, as always, in the chat. I'll try to get to them here in a moment. Heard the big money's coming in. Appreciate that, as always, from everybody. Just didn't have a moment to get to that yet. Let's see, that was, I think, Ty, appreciate that, and Pam as well. Pam, love it. Appreciate you both for the big money. Helps us keep the lights on. We'll probably be posting more here until that next event gets here. As always, keep you updated with the latest. It will be one of those evolving situations just because of the mode it's coming in with the uncertainty as far as the timing, freezing, lying, melting layer. Let me look for that graphic too for you all. Speaking of which, while I am at it. There's a really good graphic that the NWS had. Yeah, here we go. Let me download it so I can throw it up here to our production screen. In our software, rather, excuse me. All right, so this, folks, is how wintry precip works. That's kind of the short version of it. So, warm air falls through, or kind of warm air rises, obviously. You got cold air falling through that, and then also precip falling through that. So up in the air where the clouds are, very, very high, it is very, very cold. So most of that is frozen precip. When you have the warm layer being really wide, really broad, like in summertime, falls through, then it melts, rain. Great. If it's got an updraft in it, becomes hail, you know, all that fun stuff if it's like a thunderstorm. Freezing rain, so that's when it's falling through a larger and pretty much as large of an area as it can when it's looking like wintry precip anyways, and it's melting. It's got a large area to fall through and melt, and then as it's coming back into contact with the ground or shortly above the ground, basically, it freezes. So that's why it's got that yucky, you know, like everybody spilled rubber cement everywhere, snot kind of look to it. That's why. Nice glaze of ice, because it drops as liquid sometimes, or a near liquid, and then freezes on contact. sleet happens, or like grapple, ice pellets, things like that, when it drops through a less narrow or a less broad area of warm area. And it's a lot more narrow. It has less time to melt, so it may only partially melt, or it may quickly melt and then rapidly refreeze back as a more hardy type of heavier wintry precip like sleet or mixed grapple, etc., 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 so on, because it has more cold air to fall back through before it hits the ground. And then obviously snow, very little to a little bit of a warm air layer. Now, that's obviously a nice little shape, evenly drawn across a graphic, and it's easy to understand and all of that other fun stuff. It doesn't exactly work like that in real life, unfortunately. How so it works in real life? Let's have a look. I'll give you a good example. Let me pull one of those models back up real quick, because we can simulate a sounding with these. And I think that was... we can go ahead and talk about this one too, because this is another good thing to know and familiarize yourself with terms and everything whilst I'm looking for this other thing. Winter weather hazards. So winter storm watch, winter storm warning. So those same terms that we use for like tornadoes, severe weathers, thunderstorms, all of those things apply to here. So winter storm watch means watch out. Conditions are favorable, possibly for a winter storm to come through, and it's usually issued, I think there's a time frame on these that the NWS uses, like criteria wise, of so many certain days out. And then the advisory kind of, means snow or ice accumulation, sleet, travel impacts are coming, and it's extreme. It's a little exercise more caution, not extreme caution, not anything to that level. And then obviously the winter storm warning means that it's coming, it's happening, it's observed on radar, it's in the area. Winter storm warning, ice storm warning, same thing. So definitely good things to keep in mind as far as advisories, watches, warnings, and things like that. All applies here equally to winter weather as it does to severe weather. Same kind of naming scheme. Let's see. There's another graphic. That I've seen before, and that's the one I'm looking for here. But it illustrates it very well. And unlike reading soundings, because I'm not even that great at reading soundings. Like I need some hold music for y'all. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's similar to the other one. Okay, I may just have to post that one on the page and look for it later. Here we go. I think that's it. Where'd it go? No. Yep, there it is. Okay. All right, let's pull that up. All right, here we go. So you kind of see a little bit less concrete or just perfect textbook definitions of them there. You can see with your temperature lines there, deep cold layer, obviously snow, no big deal. Sleet comes into play when you have that melting layer, that's around like the 2 kilometer high mark there, where you've got cold layer, warm air, cold air trying to force its way back under when you have like frontal passages coming through like we do now. That's where you can get like the sleets, grapple, and like your things that are frozen and then melt and have enough time to refreeze again. And then when you've got that deeper, warmer air layer there, like on the right, which is what we've got right now, so we've got a lot warmer air closer to the ground, is where you can experience like the freezing rain versus versus wintry mix kind of thing that we're going to be dealing with over these next two systems. And that's kind of a little bit better example of how it all works. And there's a fine line, as you see, between what is actually falling. Every now and then, I think you remember, if from the folks that were here last year for the first of the year winter event, we were asking you if there was snow falling, and you were all like, well, you have the radar there, it looks like it's snow falling, and it very well could be. But the radar's, remember, it's always looking, a couple thousand feet in the air, and it may not always be making it down to the ground. So that's where you all fine folks come in, and we appreciate you all and your reports, because it definitely helps us out. It helps the NWS out, all of that fun stuff. So again, that is the current thinking for right now. That's the update. There it is. That's my story, sticking to it. So things can and will change, I'm sure, between now and then, but we'll be keeping an eye on things, keeping an eye on those models, studying changes, all of that fun stuff. And once we do have some good concrete information, we'll pass it along to you. But as I said earlier in my post, so far the confidence does seem like it's increasing on the event overall, that there being something other going on between that, Friday to Saturday time period. So what it will be and what form it will take and when exactly, we will see. But again, we'll keep you updated. Y'all stay safe and dry out there, and I will see you all later.